on the restream now, the audio is picking up a little bit better. And if not, I do apologize. I will try and get that working again. Um, but starting back over here with SIG, that was the last thing we were going to look at before jumping off the mic here. So I like the overall bullish trend. Has had a nice pullback down into the 30 period simple today. So that is certainly looking good. We have a squeeze setting up. So that, of course, looks great. We'll take a look at the different time frames here in a second. Bit of on the compound breakout tool. That's not too surprising given the squeeze itself. We also have a bit of, even though we have a bullish sentiment, we do have a bit of here with the Bollinger Bands that we need to be mindful of. When we take a look at the longer time frames, we start off as a validating signal here, momentum trying to reset a little bit. Do have the ATR trailing stop above us as resistance, so that is going to cause a little bit on the weekly chart. Would not be surprised, certainly have seen it before, where you kind of get stuck almost like in a never-ending wedge pattern where the 100 and the 10 period simple continue to hold as support, the ATR trailing stop continues to hold as resistance, and then we can never quite get going to the upside or to the downside until a bigger catalyst kind of breaks us out of that range, unfortunately. When we take a look at the smaller time frames for those nested squeezes, we have support holding here. So the 100's looking good. We actually have a bullish divergent bar. If that prints, might get us a retracement back up towards 78.80 range to test the top of this choppy consolidation that we're currently stuck in. On the 1 hour chart, no squeeze yet here. Momentum's in the process of resetting off of exhaustion from this short-term sell-off that we had here. We're attempting to hold the 100 period simple. So I do see what you mean about the squeezes, certainly on the longer time frames, of course. But given how both the 4 hour chart looks and the weekly chart, I'd be very mindful of when this could get going. You either want to, one, ideally buy a lot of time on the trade so that way you can sit through chop and then be for if that squeeze potentially fires. Or two, you want to wait until you have a little bit more confirmation across the board. And what I mean by that is maybe the 4 hours looks like it's starting to get going, which could then bleed into the daily squeeze firing, which then could bleed into the weekly squeeze firing, and then potentially even that monthly squeeze, right? And let one kind of domino affect the other. Uh, or what you might consider doing is if you jump in, like here, for example, to play for a bounce, you only play it up into weekly resistance, right? Play it up towards the $80 price level or into this ATR trailing stop around 82. And if it looks like it's stalling at all before you hit that range, you take it off for the quick win, right? You don't hesitate to lock in the guaranteed profit that you see and protect that capital risk. And then, of course, if you have a runner, right? If you have the account size to be able to do multiple contracts comfortably, then you might leave a runner on, see it break. Or if you're like me with a smaller account, so you're likely only doing a one lot on this style trade, then you wait for confirmation that it is breaking. And if it is starting to break, then you can jump in and play higher because what you don't want to have happen is you either one are in the trade, you see it pop up, don't take the profit, and then it reverses back down. Or two, right, you see it up here, resistance, you look to jump in because you think it's going to break, and then resistance remains holding. And so you've basically bought at the top and now have to sit through a pullback down into which is really the level that you should be buying at. So I don't think it necessarily looks bad whatsoever, but it looks like one that you might be sitting in for a while, given all of the other signs of consolidation. So personally, if I were to do something on this, I'd probably treat it a little bit shorter dated. Monthly actually doesn't look bad either. But I'd probably treat it shorter dated. If there is premium, then I would lean to a put unbalanced butterfly, something that can benefit from it just saw happen on Google, right? Or from it actually getting the directional bounce up. Um, and that way it's a strategy that favors a little bit, certainly more this market as well as this chart pattern itself. And then, of course, if the Bollinger Bands look like they're flaring open, if we're breaking above that weekly resistance, if we have more agreement from a bullish scenario on our lower indicators, then I'm all for play the continuation of the trend itself. But currently, even though this is a bullish trend, you can see that we've had just slightly higher highs and higher lows off this move, right? It's barely happened. So to me, the more conservative way to do this would just be to play it up into the prior highs, right? Off of support, and to do it ideally with a strategy that benefits both from chop as well as the bullish narrative itself. So that is my time, guys. I am apologize for some of the issues that I had over here on Twitch and YouTube. Hopefully, we'll get that sorted out so there's not any sort of delay or audio issues. I know on the simpler trading website end, everything was good. So it had to be something with the restream that we're using. As always, my fellow Jedis, may the trade be with you. If I do like something that I see, I will be alerting that out to the $500 challenge, but it might not be till later this week. Otherwise, be mindful of your capital risk. Be mindful of this chop that we're in and of earnings this week. And hopefully, earnings can give us a kick that the market needs to actually get going in a trend again. But I look forward to talking to y'all next time, guys. Bye.